Yellow. You are looking at the Smith & Wesson Model 686-4, produced in 1994. I just recently purchased this gun. It cost me quite a bit of money. Um, the Smith & Wesson started making these back in the 80s, I believe in 1980, as their mid-size revolvers. Um, it's actually, I guess it's the larger mid-size because they were already producing the. This is actually the L frame, and they were already producing the K frame. They started producing K frames, I think, back in the 50s, if not maybe even earlier. Uh, and that's when actually the L frame became life as the K frame. And let me talk about this gun for just a quick second. This is the K frame. Uh, Way back in the 60s, they actually started chambering the K frame in 357 Magnum, pushing the limits to how light 357 Magnum can go for the technology back in the day. And for size, weight considerations, they wanted something for the patrolmen to be able to carry around and still have the firepower to stop a man. And this was pretty much as small as they can get it with 6 shots, and like I said, capable of shooting the Magnum round. And it's a great gun. It's almost perfectly balanced. To me, it's easily one of my top 5 favorite guns I've ever owned, and I've thoroughly enjoy this gun, and I just love it so much. But the only problem is, there's a few different problems, but the only problem that we're going to get in today is the forcing cone. They had made the cylinder so little that they actually had to shave the 6 o'clock off of the forcing cone, and in doing so, it actually made the forcing cone just a little bit weaker. But when the K-frame was first being produced, they were the standard round for the 357 was 158 grain, and when they jumped up from 38 special to 357 Magnum, the 38 grains weren't having too much effect on the forcing cone. Not as that's as far as I could tell from my readings, is that it wasn't much of a problem. But as the 357 Magnum started, the grain size of the bullet started coming down to increase the velocity of the round. The lighter weight would actually start hitting the 6 o'clock on the forcing cone too hard and too fast, causing it to crack. And Smith & Wesson, don't like to talk about it too much, but they do recommend you only shoot 38s, practice a lot of 38s, and I guess only carry 357s when you're expecting problems, or you're in the business of carrying this gun, obviously. So to remedy that problem, they had to make this cylinder wider so they can raise the bore up off of the cylinder just a little bit more, so they can have a more stout forcing cone. And then came along this baby, the L frame, and this is a lot more sturdy of a frame. The majority of it actually is very similar. The grips, besides this is square butt and a round butt, you can get a round butt for the K frame or square butt for the L frame. It's just this is more of a carry package, more of a concealment carry package. and this is more of a target shooting package. So the difference in the gun, it's, from here on down, basically virtually are the same. They added a bull barrel and a full underlug, a huge underlug too. This is a lot smaller of an underlug, and it increased the weight and the heft of the gun. They had to bulk it up here and down here to accept the bull barrel and the bigger full length underlug. So that's a section of the gun that's bigger, and obviously I said that the cylinder is a lot rounder. The diameter's larger, and you can tell by how far the holes are spaced apart there. Like I said, they did that so they didn't have to shave the forcing cone. I don't like to try to zoom too much on my camera because it's just pitiful, but I don't know if that's going to come in or not. But this is definitely a huge, hefty forcing cone. It's not going to crack. Matter of fact, I consider this gun a tank. So when they actually made the cylinder larger, they had to increase the length of the frame so that they can fit that in there. Top strap is virtually the same in both dimensions. It's a little different shaped, but most of that is just because of when the guns were produced. This was produced late 70s. This was produced mid 90s. They both have MIM parts. They both this one has a pin barrel. The L frames never came in pin barrels, are recessed cylinders. So we're all good in that aspect. That this gun is built very tough. There's no lock on it. Like I said, no MIM parts. So this is an old-fashioned Smith & Wesson. I'd say they put a little bit more love into the older Smith & Wessons. It's got a little bit more love. Not saying that these newer ones with the lock, they're not bad guns. They're just not a piece of art. They're not the workmanship on this, and especially the older ones. It's just, it's the love that was put in. It's just kind of like, when a cook puts their love into their food, the food tastes good. I believe Smith & Wesson hired some real good people back in the day, and they loved to make guns, and it came out, it showed. Sorry. So yeah, the L frame 686. It's a tank, very durable. It doesn't point quite as nice as the K frame, especially when you get the 4-inch barrel that weighs in at 39 ounces. This 4-inch barrel right here, I believe, was like 32 ounces or something like that. So that's like 6 ounces. You can feel that. It's noticeable. These two right here, I believe, just a couple ounces difference. I don't think I would have went with the 4-inch just because that's just a big old heavy barrel. But I did want a revolver that I can bang on. I can feed any rounds through. 357. I wouldn't have to worry about it. I found myself only buying 158 grain 357 Magnum ammo, and that wasn't too much of a problem until just recently when the big scare happened. The reason why I purchased this gun, like I said, it's a tank. This gun is a little bit more fragile. It's a little bit more ammo picky. I'm not a big fan of ammo picky. Too bad, because I really love this gun. It's still going to be one of my favorite guns, and I'm still going to show it love. Just not as much love, and that's okay by me, because it can stay pretty and stay healthy for many years. And this one I'm just gonna bang on. It's gonna take a little bit more abuse than this one ever will, and this is just a little bit more sturdy of a gun. I mean, there's a couple other things that are, add to the strength. Like back here, they thinned out the hammer so that there's more meat, or I guess more metal on the frame here. Just small little places that beefed it up. It did change the weight of the gun so much that you can tell the difference, but it's still a good gun. It's still a real good gun. Just because it can take the abuse that one, the 66 can't. So this is definitely a new tool to my toolbox that I definitely will use a lot. I wish that it was a plus, which has 7 shots. You can actually, if you're lucky, you can get a 7-shot 686 plus, no mem, with the mem, and without the lock. I'm sorry. Here we go again. With the mem, without the mem. I'm sorry, I got Lexia disc. Okay, here we go again. Without the mem, and without the lock. 3-inch barrel, 7-shot, 686. Now that would be a nice gun. This is as close as I can get to that with my limited abilities to afford one. And obviously those guns are few and far apart, hard to find, and maybe one day. But for now, this gun will come on many road trips, camping trips, not necessarily any hiking trips. This is one of the bigger guns. If size, weight was more of an issue, I do have other options. The only downside of this other option, it's not as durable. It's not as easy to shoot, that's for sure. The sights and everything. The recoil is night and day. I'm not saying that the recoil on the 686 isn't anything to laugh at, but here on if you get a really hot round out of the Model 60, man, woo wee, it's nice flame out the front end, and that's another thing you're gonna get out of a 2.5-inch barrel that you're not gonna get out of the 4-inch barrel is the blast. the muzzle blast is a lot more, and sometimes that will add to the fun, especially if you're a newer shooter. Just put this in their hand, they'll feel like a big boy. Well, I'm sure there's plenty to talk about this gun. I'm sure there's plenty already on the web, so I'm not gonna fill it up with a bunch of trash. I just thought I'd show you guys my new Workhorse. It's definitely it's gonna be around for many years. It's gonna put in work. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Bye.